Hello lovely souls, welcome back to another video. And yes, I'm posting another video pretty soon after the one, or at least for me it feels that way, pretty soon after the last one. I really wish I could get to the one video a week YouTube lifestyle, but that's a creative thing in itself, and then you're also making the work. I don't know, it's a whole thing, but I'm trying my best to be more consistent. Let me rewind a bit. If you're new here, I'm Chiara. I'm a freelance illustrator and artist, capturing the people, places and stories of our planet. And if you're not new here, as always, the biggest thank you for returning. I am always so grateful, so thank you. I realized my last video was pretty chatty. I was craving just putting out more painting process videos. That is what this video is. You're going to see from start to finish a very, very detailed painting with this, dare I say, series of paintings that I'm working on at the moment. I'm hoping to use them in a wider scope because they require so much work. Not only do I want them to have little links in each painting that somehow reflect on another painting within the series, I also want to hopefully use them across the board of my portfolio onto products. I really want to get the most out of them. I'm feeling this huge creative development happening. I think it's because I'm trusting my instinct more. I'm trying to care less about what is trendy and listen to really what I want to make, because I truly believe that to attract the jobs that you really want, you have to start by making the art that you love. I've noticed that the jobs that I've enjoyed the most have come about from posting more naturally and sharing the work that I genuinely enjoy, rather than trying to keep up with the rat race of what everybody else is doing. I think that just goes to show that you have to trust yourself in this process and trust your artistic voice. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed painting this piece, and also at the end there's a little trip that sparked some ideas for my next piece. And don't forget to do all those YouTubey things like, subscribe and notification bell. Let's get on with the video. Enjoy!
Hello, I am interrupting myself because in my last painting video I got a lot of questions about materials, and I thought this would be a very, very good place to interrupt myself and share with you what materials I like to work with and why. I must say that finding the right materials for you can take time, and to be patient with that. I realise that materials can be very costly, but don't give up hope. It takes time to even figure out how the material works for you. So I wouldn't say the first time you use something is a good measure of whether or not you like that material, because the materials I'm using in this video have taken me years to find a place that I feel comfortable and that work with my practice. You need to be open to exploration and playing about, and loose bits of paper, sketchbooks are obviously perfect for that. But even that being said, that it just takes time and you need to be patient with the process. So I work with acrylic ink as my first wash. This has been an absolute lifesaver for me. I cannot tell you how much this has changed the appearance of my illustrations. I actually don't know how I did it before this, and it looks so simple. It looks like it's doing nothing, but it gives this warmth beneath my second stage, which is water-based gouache. And because of this, it means that I don't feel the need to go right to the edges, because there's always a warmth coming through from the ink. Not only that, but it doesn't lift because it's acrylic. So even when I work with a water-based medium such as gouache, it doesn't budge the ink underneath. So I have a surface that I can work on, and it just almost gives me like a backup or reassurance that I know if I leave gaps that it's still going to feel like a completed piece, because there's no white paper shining through. It might not work for other people, but for me this has been such a game changer in the overall appearance of my work. The second stage is water-based gouache. This is something that I've been using for, oh my gosh, since I can remember. Like before I even went to college, I always worked with this gouache paint, so it's been years of development. And I tried to move to acrylic-based gouache, and I just felt it was too plasticky. I couldn't manipulate it easily, like I couldn't move it around the page like I wanted, and it was very thick, and then it also limited me when it came to my pencil work, because you couldn't get the level of like rough, sort of scratchy and textural detail that I wanted. So water-based gouache is my go-to, and my favourite so far is Winsor & Newton's designer gouache. I've tried their basic range, but it's just not the same. Like, it doesn't have the same opacity to the colours. It's a bit wishy-washy and mimics watercolour more than this material. The last stage is the pencil stage, and it's my favourite stage. It's where all the little details and shadowing come into play, and I can really build an image, because as you can see, the painting segment for me, I really have to trust myself that I know it's going to piece together, because looking at it, it just looks like blobs, like messy, ambiguous blobs that honestly, for an outsider looking in, it's probably like, what on earth is she painting? And I completely get that. But because I now know my process, I can trust myself knowing that it will piece together at some point. It just takes time to keep building on the layers and building up that texture and the shadow and the light and all the rest of the little tiny details that you see me adding in. For the pencils, I use Faber-Castell Polychromos. However, I really like the Caran d'Ache range as well. I can't remember the brand name, the specific ones that I use of Caran d'Ache, but in this video specifically, I'm only using Faber-Castell. And they're another one that I've been using for years and years and years, and they last so well. They're soft, but they're not too soft. I don't like if they're very crayon or oil pastel based, or like that sort of creamy texture, because they smudge too easily and they blunt too easily, whereas these stay nice and sharp, and I can really get those nitty-gritty fine details that I love to do in my work, especially for my character work or fashion elements of the character's clothing. Yeah, Faber-Castell Polychromos are my absolute go-to. This piece for me was inspired by a little antique shop that I walked past in Edinburgh, which is where I'm from, and I immediately saw the door front and was like, oh, I really want to do a painting about antiques and vintage store type thrifting. I don't know, it just sparked something in me, and when I was falling asleep at night, I could visualize all the things that I would want to find in a vintage shop. And for me, I love that sort of 60s, 70s interior design. Like, there's so many soft curves to appliances, the phones and their clocks and the chairs, and I don't know, I just wanted that to be an element throughout this piece. Something I've always noticed with antique shops is that it's very dull and there's a lot of brassy tones and it can be kind of dingy and dusty, and I wanted to put a complete spin on that because in my world everything is bright and colourful and clean, and that is kind of how I came about this painting concept. But one thing I can say for sure that this painting taught me is patience. I've never felt it more than this piece, that I really had to trust myself, not only my instincts when it came to picking colours, but that it would come together in the end, because I was beginning to worry that it wasn't going to. And 3 days into the painting, I was still at that point where I was like, this just looks really messy. And truth be told, by trusting my process and trusting my instincts, I kept going and I think it came together. I would love to know your thoughts on it. I did a Substack post and people seemed to go wild for it. Like, I couldn't believe the engagement I got on Substack when I spoke of not only trusting my instincts as an artist, but also just this piece in general. Like, people commented the most lovely things. So yeah, drop me a comment below and let me know what you think of this, and also drop me any questions you have, whether it is on freelance illustration, life in general, or materials, whatever it may be. I just want to open up this space to build a better community and share my learnings and hopefully pass on some wisdom. So yeah, feel free to ask anything in the comments below and I'll maybe answer them in the next video.
Hi.